Find out why you should have an effective password policy for your company next.
Welcome to this episode of IT Done Right with certified technology specialist Jeannie DeWitt.
Cheryl, one of my viewers, said that she heard from one of her colleagues that she should have a password policy in place for her company and was wondering if that was true. Well, Cheryl, when it comes to the proper security, an effective password policy is a must. But note that I said effective. Here are some common pitfalls that you should look out for. Number 1, complex password requirements are not complex at all. One of the most common elements of a password policy is the requirement that passwords be complex, but many are not complex enough or the right rules are not enforced, causing hackers to be able to guess passwords relatively quickly. Number 2, lack of a lockout. A common way hackers get into systems is through a method called brute force. This is essentially entering different passwords and variations until you come across the correct password. Now, while this method can take a while, if your password system doesn't have a lockout rule whereby the account becomes locked out after a set number of failed attempts, you will eventually see a security breach. And number 3, password changes are enforced too often. In order to keep systems secure, many companies force their users to change their passwords on a regular basis. But some take it a little bit too far, forcing employees to make simpler passwords just to keep up. Number 4, writing down passwords. Because the number of password-protected systems we use is increasing, many users are struggling to remember all the passwords they use. Now, when this happens, the easiest solution is to write them down. Needless to say, this is a real security issue. So Cheryl, how should you ensure a strong password policy for your business? Well, here are some things you should consider. Number 1, make sure your password policy requires your user to use 3 of the 4 following characters in their password: a number, a small letter, a capital letter, a special character like an exclamation point. Number 2, make sure that there is a minimum number of characters. We recommend a minimum of 8 characters, but the more, the better. In fact, it's best to have passwords that are random sayings like trees drive motorcycles. With capital letters, this is even more secure than a single word. Number 3, to minimize passwords and systems falling to brute force attacks, you should set a lockout rule. We recommend a limit of 3 to 5 attempts. Number 4, you should ensure that your passwords are changed on a regular basis. We recommend 30 to 45 days. It's also a good policy to not allow the user to use the same password again and to make it as different as possible. And number 5, don't write down passwords and leave them in an easy to find area. If you need to write passwords down, tell them to use a code or even hide the piece of paper or lock it away in a secure safe, or have a proper digital password keeper set up by your IT company. Now, Cheryl, if you or anyone else are looking for help with your password policy or with the security of your business systems, we can help. And as always, I hope you learned something today, and I look forward to seeing you on our next show.
Thank you for watching this episode of IT Done Right with Jeannie DeWitt. For more great information, visit her website at hireanitexpert.com. Also browse the other shows found right here at Columbus Biz TV Shows.